Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. It's AJ over at Kaiju Live, and in this video, we're going over the massive news that dropped regarding the Monsterverse on Apple TV, as well as upcoming collectibles from Spiral Studio. So if you're a big fan of the Monsterverse like I am, let's dive into it. So Legendary dropped this tweet out yesterday reading, "We're thrilled to announce the Monsterverse is expanding with an all-new original live-action series from Apple TV Plus featuring Godzilla and the Titans that will explore the mythic legacy of a world in which monsters are real." So I believe it was Deadline that broke this news. If not, I apologize. But in this article from Justin Kroll, in a massive deal that expands on Legendary's Monsterverse, Apple TV has ordered a new live-action series featuring Godzilla and the Titans. Following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco and the shocking new reality that monsters are real, baby, the Untitled series explores one family's journey to uncover its buried secrets and a legacy linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. This series will be produced by Legendary Television and executive produced by co-creators Chris Black, who will also serve as a showrunner, and Matt Fraction alongside with Safe House Pictures, Joby Harold, and Tori Hunnell. And this is the big one. Toho Ko Hiro. I'm going to butcher these names. I apologize. If you're new to Kaiju Live, that's a very common thing over here. I can't talk. Hiro Matsuaka and Takemasa Arita. I apologize if it's terrible. Will produce for Toho. Toho is the owner of the Godzilla character and has licensed the rights to Legendary for this series as a natural byproduct of their long-term relationship on the film franchise. So there was a lot of talks that Godzilla vs. Kong was it. It was done. And I had stood by because there was rumors back then that there was an original roadmap for Godzilla vs. Kong. And then after that, it was supposed to be Destroy All Monsters. I think this shows that we're going to get there eventually. We have this live action TV show now from Apple TV, which if you're not familiar with is only a $5 subscription. So if you're worried about having to throw another $15 at another streaming service just to watch Godzilla, this one's not going to really break your bank, which is nice. And Apple TV puts out premium, like their shows are phenomenal. Ted Lasso, anybody? So the article then continues to read. It talks about expanding the universe via the series began after Godzilla vs. Kong became one of the first big box office hits in the pandemic era. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Godzilla basically saved movie theaters. Just saying. Legendary already is developing the next Untitled film set in the Monsterverse, but saw potential in developing a series and began talking to buyers that were interested. Apple showed immediate interest as it looks to add a more branded IP to a slate of original TV series that continues to grow. And a deal was soon struck to start development of the series. Thank you, Apple TV. Beginning in 2014 with Godzilla and continuing with 2017's Kong Skull Island, 19's King of the Monsters, and 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, the Monsterverse films have accumulated nearly $2 billion at the global box office and is expanding with a new anime series, Skull Island. The series will premiere globally on Apple TV Plus alongside an expanding offering of sweeping world-building dramas, including upcoming Wool, blah, 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 blah. Let's get back. Oh, David Goyer. I don't want to see that name. So some final thoughts on this. There's been a lot of speculation that the Monsterverse would continue without Toho and Godzilla, with the talks of the potential Son of Kong movie, and now the newly announced Skull Island anime on Netflix, which I'm all for. Like, let's keep building on this. But the consensus essentially has been that the Monsterverse would be moving on without its king. And I'm not talking about you, Kong, I'm talking about the King of Monsters. But, so this news squashes that. It's over. Like, the Monsterverse is continuing on a full scope. Like, Godzilla's involved. Because there's no way Apple TV Legendary would be ponying up the licensing fees necessary to slap Godzilla and Toho on this for what? So they're going to stock footage. We're going to see Godzilla swimming around in 14, and there's no way. The one thing that gives me a little pause when you read the synopsis, because there's very little info to go on here. So now we're just adding more speculation to the speculation. But you have the family. We're going to be following a family from the trauma of G14, which sounds exactly like the opening of Godzilla King of the Monsters. So hopefully this family actually has some depth and is interesting. And obviously with a TV show format, that's pretty much what we should expect. And at least I hope we get some finally real, interesting human characters to bring to this. Because unfortunately they keep killing all the good ones. So I can't see Godzilla not being directly involved in this show's story arc in some capacity. So with that, can I get a ride? Yeah. But wait, there's more. So let's talk about why you're probably even here in the first place. Toys, collectibles, Kaiju Live. Let's get into it because we haven't really had anyone in the mid, like your X Plus or your high end collectibles, really tackling on the Monsterverse. You've had obviously the low end with like Playmates and stuff of that nature, but no one really going after or giving us anything outside of Godzilla. But anyway, so that brings me to Spiral Studio, newcomer that started up in 2019, and they opened up and dropped this insane Ultimate Master Line 50 centimeter polyresin King Ghidorah from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, it's the thing, I haven't gotten it yet. I did just get my tracking number. Speaking of anyone that has gotten from KaijuLive.shop, one, thank you so much for your patience. Most of my customers just got their tracking numbers the other day. If you have not got it and ordered it from us, your tracking will be here next week. So stay tuned, reach out, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But moving on. So back in 19, this was like crazy. People were like, what? Who is this? Is this even real? Is Spyro real? Is Spyro a scam? I'm still hearing that to this day. But this shook the Godzilla collecting bubble because when it comes to gigantic pieces, we're all accustomed to X Plus. So seeing a brand new newcomer company basically being like, yeah, I can do that. A lot of collectors, myself included, were skeptical at best. So, and I get it too, because the stigma of like resin polystone statues, if you've been collecting for a while, back in the early 2000s, X Plus originally was coming out with polystone statues, not polyresin. There is a difference, people. And those X Plus original polystone statues, if you looked at them the wrong way, it's over. Game over. That thing was shattering as if you threw it off a freaking building. So I understand why a lot of people are like pausing, because now we're entering the high-end collectible when you're in that $1,000 to $2,000 range. So I get it. 2019, you drop your pre-order. 2020 to 2022, we're in COVID, but it is finally out after all these COVID delays and some additional sharp teeth. Mid 2021, the Spiral King Ghidorah has finally shipped. And if you are not part of the Spiral Collectors Hub or Spiral Studio Collectors Hub on Facebook, I highly suggest you join, share those big bugging box days that are coming, because the dam is starting to break and you're starting to see more and more of those finally hit US customers. So it's been a fun ride. But I'm not here to just talk about King Ghidorah. Spiral has been one of the only companies, like I was talking about earlier, to really embrace the Monsterverse as a whole. Because up next in the Master Line series, they did Burning Godzilla. If you're like, can Spiral one-up themselves? Yeah, they're going to give Godzilla a 4-foot wingspan to go with the King Ghidorah. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, I cannot believe they're doing that scene. That crazy, like, Godzilla, Mothra, Dragon Ball fusion nuclear pulse scene. Like, that's crazy. So this was one of the most exciting pre-orders we've ever had here at KaijuLive.shop. I won't even try to play it cool. As a small business owner, I cried. We had actually broken all of the full reveal of the Burning Godzilla DX here on Kaiju Live with Matt Frank, who was tied to the project with artwork. And, we took the pre-orders, and we had basically sold out of the DX in just 2 days. And again, it was an emotional time here. That's all I'll say. I cannot be... It's hard to express, and thank you all so much for trusting us with your order, because obviously there's more options. In fact, there are still some DXs available, I believe, and in the comments below or the description of this video, you can check them out. But if you're interested in just the standard, it is still available with us. So if you'd like to support us here, by all means, and thank you. So as Godzilla collectors, what do we all want? We always want vinyl. That's the first thing. When I first took on being a part of Spiral, and people had found out, every question that I had gotten originally was, is vinyl? Is there going to be a vinyl release? So, yes, here it comes. The newly announced Titans of the Monsterverse is the new 35 to 40 centimeter vinyl series from Spiral Studio. Obviously, this is more wallet friendly, being vinyl. So far they've been in the $375 to $500 range, whereas Ultimate Master Line's in that $1,000 to $2,000 range. So a little bit smaller, obviously, but still a little bit bigger than what you're accustomed to. As you know, as X Plus collectors, we're so used to the 25 and 30 centimeter. So this is now 35 to 40 centimeter. If you're familiar with like KOC model kits, basically in that scale. So first up in the vinyl series, we have the Mothra Larva in her benevolent form, and obviously her angry moth noises form. And what I really like here is you can tell Spiral wanted to go that extra mile to really make the standard and DX, or however you really want to call this, different. It's not just a different paint app or a light up. Provided a second head sculpt for the defensive form version, where it's got the open mandibles, as well as you can see the agitated scales going up the top of her crown, which those kind of details is what I'm absolutely loving seeing from Spiral. And as a collector, I just really appreciate it, because we're finally entering that next stage, and I'm all for it. And while the Mothra Larva is unique in the sense that she hasn't really been represented outside of, say, like Gashapons and some candy toys where they're about, this big, Mothra is still a household name amongst kaiju collectors. So this is where it gets spicy. The Queen Moto, aka Barb from Godzilla King of the Monsters, just went live for pre-order on our shop and other authorized retailers, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this. It seems like Spiral wants to recreate that scene in a sense from the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'm all about it. I love the pose here, as well as the battle scars that's really captured here in this sculpt. And this is what I meant by like Spiral is representing the Monsterverse as a whole, because check out the teasers of what's coming next in this vinyl line. Yeah, that's right. They're doing the comic Titans as well. If you're not familiar with Godzilla Dominion or some of the prequel comics, I highly suggest you check them out. We also have some of those available in the store if you're interested. But yeah, and then they just dropped this teaser this week. Next up in the Ultimate Masterline series, again, that's their bigger 50 centimeter poly resin series, is the Mothra Adult. Like, let's go. That's what I'm talking. This is why I am so excited. So let's wrap this up with a few questions. Are you pumped that Big G is hitting the small screen? Do you hate the Monsterverse? Because I know there's a lot of people that really have wanted Toho to come back, and I'm sure there's a part of the fan base that is not happy about this, or happy that they have to get a new subscription. But again, it's only $5, and you'll probably get a free trial. So $5 for a full series of Godzilla? Come on, we spent more on toys. What Spiral releases are you most excited for, and what Monsterverse Titan do you hope gets the vinyl treatment? Mewtwo Prime, anyone? Come on. Drop a comment below, and thank you so much for watching.